Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, tonight we are joined by Dead of Winter organisers, promoters, legends, Kendo and Kwondo of Brainbath. So, we're going to have a wee bit of a deep dive, ladies and gentlemen, about Dead of Winter, its inception, previous events, and what the future holds. But first of all, though, how the devil are you guys?
Getting on with it. Festive period, so just let's get it over and done with, man. Let's get in January for me.
Bah humbug, eh? Bah humbug.
Yes, I'm doing very well. Thank you for
Good.
asking, Ricky. A lot of busy work schedule, so it's now as much as Kenny wants to get through the festive period because this is his busy time. For me, I'm the opposite. It's my actual downtime. My arse is not on planted on a train or traveling. For once, I can just chill out, enjoy some time off, try and damage the liver as much as possible, and see what happens on the other side. Not too much because, of course, we've got this excellent festival to talk about.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, but we'll see. We shall see. But let's go back a couple of years then. How and where did the concept of having an underground festival like Dead of Winter come about? I mean, did it start off you were just actually setting up a normal gig and it just grew arms and legs, or did you discuss it over a pint? How did Dead of Winter come into being?
Originally, it was me just going, I think I should start a festival. We'll see. Put a post up on Facebook. See if I was to run this festival, would anybody come along? Next minute, it's like, aye, okay. If you run it, who'd you get? So basically, it started out as all the lads in Glasgow and then in
Yeah.
Scotland, and then I looked about and went, basically it was guys that I've spoken to, I went, would you like to play my festival? So that's how I ended up with Malediction, Consecration, played with Vulgar Dissection before, played with Penny Coffin, played with Coffin Mulch, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Basically, I asked Matt to do the artwork for me, and then I asked Kendo come on board because he's better at doing what's the
Business side of things.
Photoshop and design. He's brilliant at that stuff. I am absolutely terrible, as you probably know, with the crap memes I make and put up. That's my level of promotion. Oh, look, crappy meme. Kendo and that took the artwork, made everything look cool as. So basically, it was just me sitting bored around about, was it March? Because it's quiet at the kennels, I'm bored out my brain. So I just went, I'm going to start something. And it sort of grew arms and legs for them.
So kind of when he
That
approached
was a
you,
modest answer, though. That was a very modest answer. If Kenny's really truthful, is that he used to do such a great job, like way back when in the kind of Soundhouse days, if you remember that
yeah,
venue in Glasgow.
yeah.
Legendary venue, lots of legendary thrash, black, death metal bands played there. Some real famous nights, and Kenny helped host a lot of those nights.
Hmm.
I think deep down, he always used to talk to us as pals as like, this place needs a festival that kind of caters for the kind of good bands that maybe aren't quite the kind of household names, but you know that would definitely get a good turn up here and a good turnout. And
Yeah.
yeah, and he's always spoke about a fantastic festival that would be possible in Glasgow, and yeah, that's where the roots of Dead of Winter were sowed really, and we managed to make it, bring it to life between the partnership between us.
So after he approached you, then did it take much of a buy-in from Kenny to get you to help with it, or was it an immediate yes? I think you've got a good idea here.
Not to sound all sentimental, because I'm not the bubbly type, okay, but I just felt like with somebody like Kenny doing so much for the scene in Glasgow, so much for the UK scene, connected worldwide. It's not just even national, it's international. The amount of people he's connected with in Europe and the US, South America, even
Yeah,
Asia, for goodness sake, the guys out in the Malaysia and Japan, etc. You know, I just felt like we should make an effort to bring Kenny's vision to life, and he's got, I think, we'll probably come on to talk about it and what his skills are and what my skills are. And
yeah,
between us, we just thought, yeah, we could do this, and it would be pretty amazing. And at the time, we did have like the kind of beginnings or the start, or where everybody in magazines and everybody in kind of between bands was talking about how great our scene is up here. And at the
yeah.
time, we didn't have a festival for it. Now we do.
Absolutely, and it's certainly working. It's certainly working. But let's look at the name itself, Dead of Winter. Was that the only title for the festival, or did you actually have a list of different names for the festival? What made you choose Dead of Winter?
Uh, Again, it was me when I was sitting bored out my brains and during the downtime when the kennels are quiet. Basically, the name came from, well, I was looking at the calendar year and going, that's busy, summer's busy, autumn's busy, there's nothing in winter.
Yeah.
It's dead. It's like that dead space that's after Christmas. Everybody's waiting. Everyone's living for the next wage
Yeah.
after Christmas. They're waiting at the end of January. And everyone's like, if you're going to do it, why don't you not do it like January, February before the tour cycle comes? So basically, it was out in this. It is in the dead of winter. It's in the middle of winter, and there's nothing else happening
Yeah.
at that time. So, unbeknownst to me now, there's stuff starting to crop up round about. There's like bands are now, because we've put this festival on at that point. We're going to have bands now doing tours to get to us now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully it starts making everybody else seen. Oh, was it to say a tide raises all ships? I'm kind of hoping that's what happens.
It's one of the probably good and bad things about Kenny. He's extremely decisive. If he likes something, he goes with it. He goes with his heart. I love that, you know. But it wasn't until probably 3 months worth of tickets sold that we realised there's actually probably 3 or 4 other festivals called Dead of Winter. So just in case anybody's out there thinking you stole their name, can assure you it definitely wasn't that. Like Kenny says, looked at the schedule. Winter is a place where no bands play, and you know we love the name, and I love the name, and bang, we made the social media page. Well, certainly Kenny made the page, and absolutely ran with it. And look, certainly when people speak about Dead of Winter now, they're usually referring to our festival that we've got in Scotland, in Glasgow. So yeah, I'm quite pleased about that. But yeah, no plagiarism. Didn't mean to copy other people's names or if it existed in a previous life, etc. But yeah, this one's here and certainly here to stay for now.
Excellent, excellent. It's a bit of a risky move having it in January, because as you know, everybody's skint after December. Some people get paid before Christmas, and it's January's like a 6 weeks month. But then again, come the end of January, people are just dying to get out again. They've just been paid, so it might have been a bold and a shrewd move. Yeah,
you've got what I call it, what I used to do when I used to get my wage after like the January like 6-7 weeker. You used to go out and be a millionaire for a weekend. It's like, yeah, you just throw the money at everything.
Yeah.
And it's like you say, it's a release for a lot of people. They've been cooped up. They've had to cut back. Now they can go out, have a good time, and hey, if that's what they need, then I'm quite happy to supply it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But following on from that a wee bit, why did you choose January? Why did you choose Glasgow? And maybe even predominantly death metal bands. What was the reason behind all that?
The main reason at the start was I looked around and you either had mixed festivals, black metal festivals, slam festivals, and there was not an old school death metal festival. I'm like, why is there not an old school death metal festival? Especially at that point where the UK scene was really starting to grow.
Yeah.
Glasgow was picked because that's where we're all from, that's our hometown. And I felt that everywhere else seems to get everything, we were getting nothing.
Yeah.
So I went, nah, we're going to do it. We're doing it at home, and we're going to bring it here. And Kendall will attest it. We have now got people asking to come to us. We don't have to ask anymore. They're coming asking us.
Yeah, I mean, I touched on it a moment ago, and you said why Glasgow, and it's something that we didn't expect. I mean, certainly our own experiences of playing live recently, I think we all remember how terrible COVID was, and probably if we're deep down and honest with ourselves, and I mean probably anybody that's into music, we all probably took for granted what we had with gigs. So when our kind of freedoms were taken away and none of us could go to gigs, etc., you know, when the gig scene like kicked back off, kind of that 2021, 22 kind of period, there was a kind of revitalized kind of like, oh man, I'm so happy to get back to a gig.
100%.
But you know, this time it felt different. You know, people were just like, they didn't want to take it for granted anymore, and Scottish crowds have always been, famed for kind of being energetic, but I don't know if it was just I think it was just a combination of good timing with the kind of music that, that kind of underbelly, that kind of rise of the death metal and the kind of extreme metal you've seen in Glasgow and Scotland at the moment. So it just seemed like the perfect place. And because, let's be honest, it's the closest city to where we stay, we're quite proud of the scene that's kind of developed since that period. And nothing's better than capping it off with a festival for that scene every single year.
Yeah.
And then going back to what Kenny said, that's why when all the outside people have seen what we're doing, and probably don't have to approach many bands, they see all the pictures, they see the events, they see the videos, they see the coverage, and they think, oh man, I want a piece of that. I definitely want to be jumping about and enjoying some of that. So yeah, I think a bit of good timing.
It sounds as if next year's going to be like a 5-day festival then.
It could have been this year.
Honestly, this weekend is going to be one of the longest weekends of my life. So
it's all going to be good. All going to be good. But I would like to also touch on the venue. I just love Ivory Black so much. I think it's a great venue. Bands love the stage and the merch area, but I also have to mention the sound guy. Every time they've absolutely nailed it. So were there some reasons amongst the underground? So were they some of the reasons, as well as the underground feel of the venue, why you chose Ivory Blacks?
We're back to year one again. Basically, I took Ivory's on because I've known Kelv for 30 odd years now. I used to work with Kelv down at the SECC doing stagehand work and that.
Yeah.
I've known him for going to his gigs. But his old venue that was down the road used to be called the Arena in Oswald Street.
Ah.
I've seen bands like Angel Corpse and that in there. But yeah, basically, Ivory Blacks has probably the best amount of space utilised properly, where there's a downstairs bit where you can store a whole festival worth of gear.
Yeah.
There's places for bands to relax. They don't have to be upstairs sitting at merch desks. They can go downstairs, relax. The sound desk is away from the main floor. It's in an alcove away from the floor, so it's not more room taking up on the main floor. There's a bit for people that are disabled. There's a bit for people that sit down at the side.
Yeah.
It's just the best amount of space for the best amount of starting off. Basically, I'm like, right, if I fill this venue, which is 300 plus, I'm doing great. That's it. Year one, I sold out. I didn't even think I would get that far. So I was bricking it right up to the start of January going, Christ, am I going to make this? And it wasn't until it was shown, I went, how many have you sold? And she's like, you've covered yourself, stop panicking. And that was it. As soon as I realised I had made the money I needed, I don't care about the money.
Yeah.
It's not, see, as long as everyone gets paid, everybody in the venue everybody gets what's needed.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Absolutely.
I'm there for I'm doing it because I want my scene to be better than X, Y, and Z's. I'm being selfish here in that case where I want Scotland to be mentioned in the same breath as Stockholm, Gothenburg, Florida. That's what I want. And if this is the stepping stone that's needed to make the next level, so be it.
Yeah, another thing about the venue as well is you touched on a lot of other venues aren't quite as accessible. You're not allowed to stage dive, you're not allowed to have things on. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of. I'm not saying that there isn't a good rule book at Kelv's, of course there is, but I think what Kelv likes is that if people come with a plan, and Rob, of course, as well, that works there, and this is what we want to try and set up, they'll be very supportive and see how they can accommodate. There's some things that we can't. And one of the things that we were worried about, for example, last year's headline is Tenebro. They've put a lot of theatrics into their stage, and that means it's a lot of kind of blood getting chucked about. So we thought, that's possibly going to be a problem if there's monitors dead and equipment and the floor stuck together. But no, Kev was super accommodating. He says, as long as you bring X, Y, and Z, and Kenny had the kind of almost like the dust sheets and everything, you know, available, and we were able to put on a show that pretty formidable show that will be well remembered. You know, just an incredible exclusive show that will hopefully stand the test of time. Don't know if it had been the same if we didn't quite have the theatrics along with it, but we wouldn't have been able to do that with other venues. And I think it goes back to Kenny's point. The other point I want to make on that was, like, if this was a business, we could have honestly outgrown Ivory Blacks on the first visit. We could have booked somewhere else with a bigger capacity and pushed for ticket sales. But you know, we had such a good vibe. And then when things didn't go quite to plan in the first or second year, particularly the second year, how much Kelv and Rob were there to support and open the doors when we needed them to, and just be there. Just lots of things that we felt like, no, it's good to pay them back a little bit because they supported us when we kicked off. You know, in the future, if we do need to grow, then obviously it will be a consideration. But for right now, I think we've got the right mix where we've got good capacity. We know what to expect with the venue. They know what to expect from us, and yeah, good place for it.
Yeah.
I think the main thing with Ivory Blacks is, like you've touched on, Kelv lets us away with a lot. I mean, Christ, people have said it's like they see the videos and they go, the crowd looks insane. That's because they are insane. They are throwing themselves left, right, and centre off stage. Hannes is throwing goblets of blood over everybody. There's still blood splattered on the projection system on Ivory Blacks' singing. How do I know it's still there? Because I seen it last month when I played with bloody Pestilence. So I'm like, oh look, fake blood still. Like, Kel's like, I can't get that stuff off. What the hell is it? I'm like, you need to get like alcohol in, because my drum kit was covered in it. I don't know where, he was like spraying it everywhere. So
maybe it's real. It's Hannes after all. It could be real blood. It could be able to put it past them.
Like, there wouldn't be real blood because that's it. Hannes is vegetarian, so he's.
There you go.
That's why if you look at the back of his most dismal fate t-shirts, there's a thing like, don't eat animals, eat humans, and things like that.
Right. Okay.
That's true.
No,
yes.
I think Ivory Blacks is a really good fit for us, and it keeps the festivals underground. I want to keep it underground.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where, do I want to double the venue capacity and then only 300
kill the
people
atmosphere? Aye.
And then it looks, and the atmosphere will die, because I know for a fact if I move up, certain venues won't want people stage diving.
Yeah.
Certain venues don't want anybody doing anything. They just want you standing there.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of why I keep doing this, because I like watching the crowd kicking. I get a kick out of it.
Yeah. As long as people respect the venue, then they can keep on doing what they're doing, you know. So, but I'll never forget at the end of the Tenebro set, seeing you, Quondo, in your pair of marigold gloves, cleaning up the blood and everything like that. So,
man, I spent more time cleaning up that bloody mess than I think Tenebro's set was. I think it was mopping up that blood for about an hour afterwards.
God,
well worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. But when it came to like deciding what roles, who was going to do what roles, how did you decide amongst yourselves who was going to be doing what? Because organising a festival, there's all sorts of ramifications that go with it. So how did you decide amongst yourselves who's going to be doing what?
I think myself and the Quondo complement each other. Kenny's got immense contacts, like we talked about earlier, like not just within the UK, but Europe and wider in the US. And so in many ways, Kenny's the kind of person that's able to introduce myself to a lot of bands and a lot of people that are interested in playing the show.
Yeah.
And then I would say, you know, the bulk of the lineup, it's usually through friends acts and who is able to play, etc. And then the bit that I'm good at is, I guess, negotiating. So, and when I mean that, I don't mean I'm trying to get the most amount of band for the least amount of money. What I mean for that is, you know, I really do my best to sell the story of what Dead of Winter is, not just to the people that attend these shows and the people that organise it, but we want this to be an experience that people want to do. We don't want this just to be an experience or a festival that you turn up, you play, you get your money and you move on to the next festival. All the bands that have played here in the past is because you had an ambition to play Scotland. They see the videos, they see the crowd. I mean, we talk about the insane crowd, but the passion that's involved in, supporting this music, supporting this scene, we don't want to just hire anybody. So I guess that's the part that I'm good at. Is I'm a natural salesman at heart. That's where my experience is, I guess. I still do a bit of it today. So, but I don't do it from this time. It's like when it's personal, and I want people to respect the passion and respect the country and respect what we have here. We're getting bands in that really want to play here, and so far that's what's been able to kind of work out in our favour. And yeah, and you've attended the shows yourself, Ricky, but for the audiences watching I'd encourage you to watch Tenebro in terms of their headliner set, Malediction's headliner set. I mean, Malediction, for example, and they were so thankful because they never thought they'd play a gig again.
Yeah.
They came back after a kind of 25, nearly 30-year hiatus, a genuine old school death metal band, part of the original UK scene that used to rub shoulders with the likes of Bolt Thrower, Carcass, Benediction, etc. regularly. And to see them play, especially with some of the difficulties in the band where guys had to overcome things like cancer, etc., it was just an emotional thing and something that we'll remember for the rest of their lives. And that's the type of thing that we want to try and promote and make these festivals as exclusive and as brilliant as they possibly can be. Because look, life's life. We might not be able to do them forever, but whilst we're doing them, we want them to be a special thing. And I feel that that's where my power is. If I can bring that and let people understand what the type of event they're getting themselves involved in, from the fans, from the organisation, from the passion that goes into it, then you need to be along with that journey for it as well.
100%. So is it basically then, Quando, you just go to a band, say you want to play, aye, okay, I'll pass you to Kendo?
What's the words I'll use? I am very, very cocksure of myself. I am very, very, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
There is times where I have just went up to a band and went, do you want to play my festival? Straight up, just sent them a message, PM them on their Instagram, whatever.
Yeah.
It's, hi guys, do you want to play the festival? Would you be willing to come to Scotland? And basically, if they're like, yeah, we'll hang it, I'll go, right. What I do then is I send them, we've got like the website and all the, send the information. And basically, we look at what they're willing to, give us, we can give them, to and fro. And basically, this is where Kendo comes in. He's good at the negotiating side of it. It's not even negotiating. It's like most of these guys want to come and play Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, Toxemia want to play here. It was just we were like, look, we'll try and cover as much as we can so it's not coming out of your pocket. They are itching to come here. They've been on my list since day one .
Yeah.
So they have, because Pontus has been a supporter of our scene. And that's it. I met Pontus very, very briefly up in Stockholm when I was at any Scandinavian Death Fest. And that was where the original seed was planted in my brain. Was this, I'm at this death metal festival that ran for 3 days. And I'm just band after band, death metal band after death metal band, to the point where the guys in Grave went, are you not sick of listening to HM2 yet? And the whole crowd went, no.
I would say the same.
But that's where the original seed was planted. And that's what it is. It's basically me just being upfront with bands. It's like, I don't see the point in bullshitting.
Yeah.
Or
back to that direct thing again, Ricky. You see, just in there. And it's happening.
I don't see if you're not willing to put yourself out there like that, there's no point in doing this, because you're gonna it's part and parcel of the thing. It's like, I think it's me being a front man of bands as well. I'm quite cocksure of myself. As soon as I'm on stage, it's like switch on, boom, go.
Yeah.
Then I'm behind the merch desk and this wee quiet guy just sitting there going, but no, I'm very forward when it comes to this kind of thing. Again, I want to get the best for what we can do. So I know it sounds cliche and cheesy, but that's my goal.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's exactly, just to add on to Kenny's point, I mean, that's kind of what's been the success. I mean, being direct like that. And sometimes, oh God, we'd love to. We see the kind of videos, we see how brilliant the scene in Scotland is, particularly for death, old school style extreme metal. We'd love to get there, but I've got 5 guys in my band. It'll probably cost us some flights, and that's when it kind of went. Well, you're here and we're here. Is there somewhere in the middle? And yeah. Some things have been unfortunately unachievable, but the ones that have been achievable, and then sometimes it just takes me to ask somebody, don't be a shite bag, fucking play Scotland. And as you know from our good friend Hannes in Kenneborough, that should never have happened. At the time, he didn't even have a band. He was a one-man band. He had to assemble a band and everything. But you know what? So yeah, between all of that, that's how we're getting the bands, you know.
Absolutely. That's great. Thanks very much for that, guys. But when it comes to like getting bands to come and play for the festival, what attributes do you look for in a band, and especially band members, before offering them a slot on the festival?
I think mostly, from going back to Kenny's point, is like we've been very fortunate that because of the ground year was so successful, we now have a short list of bands that have just reached out to us. Now, don't get me wrong, via a quick conversation via either Kenny or myself, we can usually validate, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but we just need to be honest with ourselves. The venue capacity is 300. So if you're trying to earn thousands of pounds, then there's lots of other festivals, maybe to name drop, maybe Damnation, Incineration Fest, or something that's got lots of capacity, lots of attendees. If you're trying to make it in a probably not the right festival for you. You know, it's about the ambition, and look, there's no shortage of ambition from the bands that we see. So that is a big thing for us. If they can come forward and basically say, like, we've seen the kind of the work you do, we see the kind of crowds, we've seen the kind of fantastic environment, we'd love to have a part of that. That's usually a good indicator to say we work with them. If depending on where they are in the world, if we can make it work via costs and travel, etc., then that's a very big step. We're not an earner because we've only got a 300 ticket capacity, so we're never going to have the ticket sales to pay big bucks. Never say never, but for right now, this is what we're happy with. And then secondly, it's to see,
Nigeria dropping several million in the bank.
If it was a vanity project and I could use all my millions, great. But and then secondly, what's their stage presence like? Do they have a passion for this? You know, and you can usually tell pretty if you're playing death metal and you're playing this type of music. 9 times out of 10, it's not for fame because not many people make super millions out of it. There's only a select few, or even an earning out of it. So yeah, we just check to see what the live presence like. If they're fit as well as within that kind of old school aesthetic, not specifically like you have to be a band from the 90s or early 2000s. But my point is like, you know, we try and cater to the crowd that's kind of playing old school style. So it doesn't matter if it's, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's got an old school vibe to it. Your influences are old school. If you turn up with all the laptops and all the different sample pads and all the kind of sound effects and all the theatrics, not saying that it will never be a thing one day maybe, but certainly that's probably not our bag. We are very...
I thought you were talking about Brain Bath there. You're bringing that into Brain Bath.
We're very plug and play types, you know. We want honest musicians, you know, and you know what? In Glasgow, part of that energy from the crowd, they like a guy that's Motorhead style. You know, they can turn up, plug straight in the amp, dime all the the dials, and absolutely go for it.
Yeah.
If you're sitting there trying to work out your trigger sample set and you're into your monitors and there has to be a click track, and if that click track goes down, you have to stop playing. Probably not the right festival for you.
Yeah. What about you, Quando? Like, what do you look for in bands and band members?
It's a kind of aesthetic I look for. It's like I can tell. See, and this sounds horrible, but I'm going to say it. But I look at the t-shirts they're wearing, and what bands are sporting, and that usually tells me that's what these guys play.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to ask them to play my festival. Again, we've touched upon it. It's basically me just looking around going, I think you'd be a good choice. Maybe we'll ask them. It started like in the first year, it was just me picking all the UK bands. It was 6 Scottish bands.
Yeah.
One first year. So it was like it's local. But then I pushed it out towards like Christ, we had, was it Cornwall, is it they're from? Like Norwich and
Norwich,
yeah.
Basically the arse end of the UK. and we got Malediction, and that was it. It was like that was the like we'll get this. It's a UK based festival for UK death metal, and that's how it started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until we caught Hannessy's bluff, and then everything sort of snowballed for there. Basically, it's like if we could get him, why can't we get anyone else? Like, why not ask these guys for like Scandinavia? Why not ask these guys for the like continental Europe?
Yeah. Well, that actually leads beautifully on to my first, well, the next question about the first year. The first year was more about what the current UK underground scene has to offer. So how easy or difficult was it to get bands to buy into a festival, its debut festival, and to come to Glasgow after maybe some tricky times with other festivals going on? So how easy was it to get the bands buy-in to play the first Dead of Winter?
The first year, I basically it started with obviously I asked like the lads in Brainbath, do you want to play this? I've got this idea. I want to put a festival on. I'm
Yeah.
going to ask basically all the lads and all the local bands. So I asked Penny Coffin, I asked Team Vos, Coffin Mulch, and basically I built it like that, like core of bands in Scotland, and then I branched out from my first initial like picks to what then I had at the end up, and that was like Blood Rage had to pull out. So that was the first like major like, oh no, here we go.
Yeah.
Thankfully, found a band to take the slack, because that was it. I like as soon as I put the like Matt and Kendall done the first poster and I put that flyer up on it. See the amount of people is like, can I play your festival? That was it. Like instantaneous. It was like 30 bands. Like, can we play this? I'm like, sorry, it's full. Going well. If it goes well, I might. And that was it. It wasn't even thinking. It was like it was initially one off and done. That was it. It was going to be a one. And after it was all said and done that night, it's like I walked out onto the stage and went, do you want to have another one? And the whole place went, aye. And I just went, all right, then that's me tell.
Good. No, fair play, fair play. But I think we kind of touched on it earlier, but did everything go to plan on that first day? Were there any wee minor hiccups or anything?
Do you know what I would say is, I think we've had the tip of both scales. We'll probably touch on the.
Yep.
We're going through the history of like first year, second year. First year, pretty much everything without it. Apart from bands pulling out, we had to replace them, but that was before the event. On the actual day, it couldn't have went more perfect. The running order was fantastic.
The only thing that went wrong was the double kick pedal that Rancid Cadaver were using fell apart.
And then somebody ran downstairs.
It was quick in, swap out, swap it back in, and that is it. Yeah. Everything else, everybody was.
Did you not think this is easy then?
Well, I did. The only thing I would say for the first year, we learned that an interval's good. So let people go and have a break. Let the venue restock the fridges, clean the place up a bit, get the toilets sorted out. People can go away and get something to eat, rest their legs a bit, because it's probably a big ask to ask people to stand there from 12 p.m. right up until 11 p.m. Yeah. So yeah, we learned that an interval was a good thing. Give people a chance to sort out stage, quick, get a venue rehashed, and go almost like a first half and a second half. So yeah, that's probably the only thing we'd take if we were going away doing it different. If we went back in time, probably put an interval in there. But yeah, apart from that, it was a pretty perfect festival, and yeah, it was an easy thing when we went on stage when Kenny said, "Do you want to do this again?" And the whole place is jumping and roaring and falling from the ceiling. And you're like, "Yeah, we should probably do this again." Yeah.
Absolutely. You've already answered a couple of my other questions as well, so I apologise if I do repeat myself. But what were your own thoughts and feelings after everything had ended, after the Malediction set? What was once it was over, was the decision to say, let's just do this again?
I think what I would say is when I seen how much it affected people, when I seen how emotional the guys in Malediction were, and they genuinely thought they would never play again. And now to see them kick on and release records and EPs and tour more, and as a band now, they're a functioning band. They go and play a lot of places now.
Yeah.
It was good to see that. It was like we resurrected guys who were on a 25, 30-year hiatus. And I think personally, to them and as individuals, they probably thought this is never going to happen. We keep rehearsing, we keep doing the music. So that was fantastic. That was a real rewarding moment as because we know those guys personally. I mean, at the time, Rich was in the band, Mark was in the band, Sean in the band. I think it was, keep me right, so John on drums at the time. I think he's changed since then, yeah. All fantastic people, and to see them to have that moment. You can see at the end of that, it wasn't just a relief of them like we got through that set. There was also like a buzz to say, "Man, we've missed this." So that was good. And then also looking out at the crowd and seeing how much it meant to people, and people could turn around and say, "Man, we've got what is a phenomenal scene, and we can cap off and say there's a festival," and people like this needs to be a thing every single year. So at the end of that day, when we've seen how people were so proud of it and happy about it, and they could go, "Man, we've got this cool thing here that nowhere else has got, and we're bringing up bands that are exclusive that haven't played anywhere else before." That was pretty special, and it's what's been the driving force to keep doing it again.
Absolutely. You're bringing a tear to my eye. So you are.
But I know I said I wasn't sentimental earlier. Now I'm getting out now, so I can go back to my maniac ways.
I do remember when I interviewed Malediction down the stairs, they said that was one of the best, if not the best gig that they've ever had since 1988. So that just speaks volumes. Absolutely. And the fact, as you said, people have been in the venue since 1 o'clock, and they were just finishing their set at 10, half 10, 11 o'clock. The fact that they stayed to the bitter end.
Still packed
the venue. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I think Rich even made a comment to say, we didn't usually used to get stage divers. I wasn't used to people tripping over my pedal board before. And, well, you need to get used to it if you're playing Glasgow Sin.
Absolutely. And we'll be seeing him again with Osterim, or however you pronounce that bloody band's name. Yeah, that one. But the second year, unfortunately, you had it too easy on the first year. Unfortunately, the second year was an altogether... Yeah, it was an altogether different experience. Unfortunately, there was outside influences at play, namely the weather. So talk us through the amount of phone calls, line-up changes, logistical nightmares that you had to go through to make it work.
Right. I am not going to lie about this one. I was that close to calling it quits. So it was that close to just pulling the plug, because basically it started Thursday night, I think it was. I picked the Tenebro lads up for the airport, and honestly, it was so calm. There was nothing. The weather was nothing. And then the next day came, and I watched my business being ripped apart systematically by the weather. It ripped the roofs off all the kennels, pulled the brickwork up. I ended up with trees on top of my house, nearly coming through the roof. My car got damaged that day. And I was very close to just calling it. I was talking to Kendo saying, what do we do? It's like the government's even saying, do not leave the house.
Yeah.
What do we do? So it came to the decision to basically, Friday was wrote off because there was no transport, there was no trains. Glasgow was like a zombie apocalypse, through what I was hearing from the guys that came up from down south to watch the festival. It got to the point, I think it was the Friday night, and it was about 6 o'clock. The weather had just started to die down. So basically, I drove into Glasgow with the drum kit while avoiding wheelie bins, trampolines, and small ladies with zimmers flying across the road.
Yeah.
We basically, everybody that could make it for the Saturday, we basically, Kendo basically spoke to everybody and went, look, this is what's happening. We'll consolidate the 2 days, and if we can do it, we'll put it together. So basically, I think we ended up with, it was repuked. We're still trying to get here. Tenebro were already in the country. They came in like the day before. We had like mutagenic hosts were trying to get up. And we basically said to them, look, lads, I'm not having these coming up. And this, I couldn't have it in my conscience if somebody get injured. Try to come up for a festival. So basically, I ended up having to like just go, look, Kendo, can you take over here? Because I'm basically trying to
Get your house back together.
Afloat. because
Mhm.
honestly, I have never seen something like this. I actually watched the wind rip an entire building out the ground and take it away. So it
Yeah.
did. And I'm standing watching going, Jesus Christ, what am I going to do? This is my livelihood. This is what basically keeps a roof over my head. Even that was threatened by it. So Kendo stepped right up that day, man, and just he went, look, I'll take over. And there was phone calls going in at like 11 o'clock the night before. It's like, can you play? Thankfully, he got Jaundice to come out and open the festival again. I was already supposed to do suffering rights. And then it was like, we're going to do a brain bath set, so you're getting 2 sets in one day. I'm just, Jesus Christ. So basically, a lot of anger got unleashed in that stage on the Saturday through me. And you can, if you go back and watch the videos, you'll see me like fucking raging and just try to get through it. And see, when I look back now, and I don't know how Kendall managed to get everything pieced together, but by fuck, what a day it was. It was worth it, man, just to see the crowd.
Absolutely.
Well, we talk about complimenting each other. This is why we're a partnership. And if I'm really frank, he's been very complimentary. But again, I work in an environment, a senior level, so I had to use some of my organisational skill. If I'm really honest, let's flip roles in the first year. Probably all 90% Kenny. And I made myself look like I stole the glory to end, like a top striker, hanging about the box, nodding it in at the last minute.
You came on with your shades on, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, a lot of praise when I did like only 15-20% of the work, and that's me being generous. So
yeah,
look, flip the scale a little bit, and Kenny has priorities. He has to look after his livelihood, his home. I mean, we need to talk about the severity of the situation. I mean, we're talking hurricane level winds.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Ricky, but it's like unprecedented weather.
Absolutely.
What was it near us? Was it Kaluk or somewhere like that? It had 129 mile an hour. And because I was like, because it was during the day, it was so like you expect storms and like hurricanes. You see these films like Twister and all that. You think, oh, at night and all that. You of course look back at that, but because this was during the day, there was this kind of like false sense of security. So you'd walk outside, and go, oh, it's a bit blurry, and it's not until like a tile from a house zips by your head at 100 mile an hour, going, that clipped my gear. That could have been a goner right there, and you realise, right, this is life or death. Yeah. And then when we were driving that night, literally that night, we would, there was a lot of bands on the Thursday night went, look, we're getting band travel. We can't come up. We can only get as far as here. And Kenny and myself made the decision to be sensible. Look, be safe, get yourselves home. We'll do what we can to cover. And a lot of the bands we had to pull out. And then what we decided to do was amalgamate both days into one and make as best as we could. I'll come on to the fact about, there's so much, we're so grateful for the kind of the audience we've got in Scotland, because a lot of people could have turned around and said, well, I only got 1 day, not 2 days. Not one person said that. Everybody was just like, they were just so happy that we decided. I mean, I don't know how, you never want to incriminate yourself, but we probably broke a lot of laws or something, or rules, or I don't know. But we decided, no, let's do this for the people if we can. And that night, we kind of went probably a couple of heavy loaded vehicles with all the equipment we needed into Glasgow. Kelv was kind enough to open up the building, get everything in. We set up the backdrop and went, right, if it's going to happen, we're set up to go and we're ready. We'll just see what tomorrow brings. And then thankfully the next day, I was checking everywhere. I was looking everywhere to see if there was any gigs on the Saturday, if things were going ahead, and I had nothing. And I was like, right, I'm just going to be brave and say it's on. And thankfully, when later on during that Saturday, the buses and things and trains started operating from about, I want to say midday, when usually they would be 24 hour. Or certainly they would at least start at kind of 5 a.m. sort of thing. So then to get that, we were brave and we went for it. And and then we seen that there was gigs later on in the day that probably covered their arse, because if nothing else was on, would have been probably in a bit of bother. But but what the phenomenal response was, and what the rewarding was, when we opened that door and we seen a full queue of people that somehow miraculously managed to get there when trains were off and buses. They all contacted each other to borrow cars to kind of catch a lift with somebody, see if a relative can drop them off. That was just when we opened the door and people flooded in, we just couldn't believe it. Unbelievable. So
That's
If
something
Kenny
fun.
stepped up and did 90% of the work that year, I had to pull my weight and do it a bit for the
Yeah.
previous year. And I was so grateful we did it because what a show it was. Really something
Absolutely.
quite special. A miracle that day. An absolute miracle happened.
Absolutely. I always remember seeing a picture of a train platform and it was like a river.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Never seen anything before it in my life. So the fact that you still got the Saturday outfit, and fair play to the bands as well for doing
Yep.
everything that they possibly could. I think we should give a special mention to Repuked. Would you like to give their travel attempts to get over?
Oh, those guys, they went through, well, three countries, 4 airports, I think it was,
I think so.
to get to Manchester, and they lost their equipment. And
Oh.
even
That's
they were
right.
like, they were like, we can still come up. And we're like, look, we can give you equipment, we can. And it got to the point where we're just looking at the time and we're looking at it and we're like, you know what, guys, you tried.
Yeah.
We're not just go home, get your instruments, be safe. There's no point busting it to try and get here, and that's it. You don't know when they were going to make it.
Yeah.
So we basically said to the guys, like, after that, it's like, we'll definitely get these over. That's where the Kendall came up with the idea for Dead of Spring. So the
Gonna
guys
bring that
got
up next, yes.
and we tried to basically get all the bands that couldn't make it that time on that bill. Again, it's just because it was a busier time of year, bands are out touring or venue. You know the thing, it's
Yeah.
like try to get everything in place. It was a lot harder to do that time.
Yeah.
But it was like a once in a generation storm. It just happened to hit Scotland the weekend we decided to go do a festival. So
Yeah, fair play to the
them.
Repute guys. Absolute fair play to those Repute guys because they could have chucked the toys at the pram and been like that. Well, because for perspective, they were meant to have, I think, one flight.
Yeah.
And when they went in the air, it didn't go to Scotland. It got diverted to bloody Amsterdam or somewhere in Holland. Then they had to get whatever it was in Holland to London, then to London to Manchester. And through all those changes, that's when the inconceivable happened and they lost all their kind of instruments. They didn't turn up with them. So obviously they were in the system, etc. And they're sitting in Manchester and it's like there's no buses north, there's no planes, there's no nothing going north. I said, look, even if you can get in an Uber, I'll just pay it and you can use all your gear. It's fine, just get here, we'll sort it. And then it came to be like, look, I get it, but if we're there and then our instruments then turn up and we're not there, and so we were just like, do you know what? Let's do the sensible thing. We'll sort it out. And do you know what? It made, like Kenny said, it gave us the opportunity to do something cool because we were so well backed and supported, and so the kind of when we seen the wash of people come over on the Saturday and they still wanted to see something of a festival. That was why we put on that next gig, and did a kind of a cheaper gig to try and get people in and see some of the bands that weren't able to play that Saturday. And again, that was a phenomenal event, and it was just great to catch the Repute guys. They played a phenomenal set, and they're a brilliant band. Yeah, love what you do.
Of course, what did happen the same day we had Repute on? Bloody rail strike.
That's right.
True, yeah.
That was it. There was it 40 odd tickets sitting on the door that were paid for? And nobody could.
People had to tell us and say, look, we're sorry we didn't come up. The trains got cancelled between here and here. And we're hoping that the third time's the charm or third time lucky and we don't get any.
We're going to start a taxi service to try and get everyone around.
But yeah, it was a packed event and it was fantastic. It was a fantastic night.
Absolutely. So maybe a wee bit of a side question. Is that going to be the only Dead of Spring, or do you think there's enough scope there to maybe just do something a wee bit extra?
I was talking about this earlier with Glennon.
Well, we'll see what the Horizons bring. I think because so many bands did miss out on the first, or for whatever reason, because of weather or lineup changes, felt they had to pull off. There's now opportunity. It's difficult because what we do is we start to fill up the following year with bands that couldn't make it that year. Yeah. So we can't just chuck them automatically in the second time, or the fourth time if we were looking at it, or this coming up time for the trilogy. So we might need to do something where we accommodate some extra bands. And we'll watch this space.
Yeah. I just have to say about Tenebro, it turned out to be one of the best sets that I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. But again, looking back, what had you learned this time around about what can happen on the day, amongst other things? I think you got it lately on the first event, but the second event, I think you've learned about everything else that could possibly happen when putting a festival on. So, what different things had you learned after the second festival that you maybe didn't learn after the first?
Apart from the weather, the day actually ran kind of all right. Everybody, like, the bands went on, and the only one that thing is like try to get the repute guys from Manchester to here. And when it got to that point where it was just about the break in the first day, we found out that they wouldn't make it. So basically, we had to adjust, like, who was left to play.
Yeah,
So, like, in Coffined, they made it about 40 minutes before they were to go on stage. So
great set as well.
we had to put, I think it was Brain Bath had to go on. So we had to extend our set for them to then come on to do their extended set, because Tenebro had only practiced, I think it was a 45-minute set. So we were like, basically just, Christ, we were bringing cover versions out and everything. I think just like,
Well, wait a
trying
minute, wait a minute. I remember introducing you guys to the crowd. If you had told me that, I could have told the crowd a couple of jokes or something like that to keep them
you
going.
did tell a joke. You went, here comes that great band Brain Bath.
I think I did call you
I heard
sexy
the joke.
bastards.
I'm sure you told the crowd you were 31. That joke went down fantastic.
Right, that was a wee bit personal there.
Ah, we did.
All good, all good. But the third year, you've branded this as the trilogy. So,
Yes.
what was the concept of having trilogy in the brand itself? What's the meaning behind it all?
Basically, year 3,
Yeah,
we're going for it. We said, right, if it's the third one, we've got to up the ante. We've got to get bands that have never played the UK, or bands that have never played Scotland in their life. So the trilogy came about just because it's the third. The idea for the artwork came from, again, 3 asked Bozart, Matt.
yeah,
It goes, here's an idea I have. Basically, I want Cerberus, the 3-headed hound of hell, and I want the guy you designed from the first and the second year. Like, we haven't even got a name for the guy yet. We just call him like Skeleton Guy or whatever. Want him holding the dog bag with a big chain and like and desolation round about him. So Matt comes back with the artwork, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! And then Kendo's like, he's done this other piece of art, and it's fucking in it. I went, you know what? Just throw everything, use it, like, go balls to the fucking wall. Everything's getting turned up to 11, mate. You know what I mean? Let's go. It's basically, this year's go big or go home.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing behind it. It's like, by God, if we sell this out, it's going to be the maddest gig I think we've ever seen in Scotland.
100%.
It's like nuts.
I think if I was to describe it, it's like a combination of the first two. It's like a nice rounded. We all like a good trilogy, don't we? The first one was something that almost we gave to the crowd and audience and the fans, and they really appreciated it. And phenomenal kind of response. Like we talked about, sold out, exclusive event, was a wonderful day and went like clockwork. If anything, the bands and the fans showed up for us on the second year.
Yep.
But now it's like, right, using that power, let's do the big one. Let's go number 3. Let's get the exclusives in. We may not be able to always bring bands over from Europe, especially this amount. It's going to have its own challenges, especially, I don't want to go into it, but the way things are going with travel these days and what visa you need and ID cards and all things that are getting spoken about. But you never know what's around the corner. So, yeah, we're organising this. It's being brave. We want to demonstrate some of the best, exclusive UK acts and some of the best exclusive, international acts that I've never played here before. And we've got a phenomenal opportunity to do it. And genuinely, I cannot wait to see some of the performances. It's going to be fantastic. The trilogy.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, guys. I really do appreciate the time that you are spending with me here. But fingers crossed, you're again going to go with the formation of having a Friday night show followed by an all day or Saturday. So, what does this allow you to do creative wise, having the 2 days?
Um, it allows us to platform and give exposure to more bands. I mean, that's it. Like the original first festival was 11 bands in one day.
That's right.
The second festival was supposed to be 5 or 6 on the Friday night, 9 on the Saturday. So we've went for the same again. We're going to try for the 5 and 9 thingy. Basically, Dead of Spring, we'd done the whole 5 bands on that one, and basically it ran like clockwork. So
Yeah.
hopefully this time, weather permitting, touch wood, everything goes to plan. It basically should run itself. All we've got to worry about is bands are there on time and changeovers are on time. And that's it. And everybody usually, like, they do their set, they're off. Everybody helps change over the next band. And that's it. Go to your merch desk and make a killing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was a good way to build value for the festival. So what we tried to do was, like, we had so many bands that we had to try and accommodate. Trying to get them into one day was going to be like we would have to start at like 10 a.m. and I don't know, we just felt like that wouldn't probably be the right thing to do. Certainly in our city, let's kind of, and where we've worked well in the past, but like, how do we retain that? So we could have like squeezed everything into one day and started at 9 a.m., 10 a.m. But people would die off too early before they got to the headliners. So we thought, you know what, let's split this. This will be a way to accommodate all the bands that we want to see playing, so over 2 days, but also represent just remarkable value for what you're paying for a ticket. We've managed to find a way of being able to squeeze 2 days, being sensible, like half day one day, and we're a headliner on it, and then obviously a full day on the Saturday, without being like you have to turn up at 9 a.m. and somehow it'd last until 11 p.m. I'm sure there's a few out there that could do it with the various substances and additional supplements. I'm sure they could have maybe gone, but most people.
But I'm starting to creak and groan. It's
there's a few people that start at 9 a.m. and they probably wouldn't even reach 1 p.m., let alone 1 a.m. So yeah, we just had to be sensible.
I'm in my bed for 1 a.m. now. It's like, I used to be like, you know me, I used to be sending band links at 3 in the morning. It's like, no, I'm going to my bed now.
I'm just waiting on Ricky saying, so the real reason is so you don't kill yourself on the Friday and forget you've got a festival running the Saturday. Yeah,
absolutely.
We've been sensible. If we were to try and do it all in a one day and shoot an entire load in a one day, I think there'd be a few deaths by about 9 p.m. before the headliners have been rolled out. So, yeah, been sensible.
To be fair, if you did start at 10 o'clock, that's when you can buy alcohol, isn't it? So
yes,
we would be fine. We would be fine.
We'll get an added bonus this year because, like, we tried to
I was going to say the same thing.
Onto the bill this year, but the lads had already booked the tour.
What an album they released, by the way. What an album.
It's a cracker, man. Ash and the boys nailed it, man.
Right.
But so basically, the Thursday night before the festival, Mutagenic Host are playing Glasgow. And me being the complete clown psycho that I'm suffering rights on the bill. So
does that
I'm
mean
playing a show the night before running a festival?
Fantastic.
Does that then mean that Kendall has to take all the gear to Ivory Blacks on the Thursday night himself?
Sounds like it.
The gear can go in the Friday afternoon because that's what we've done with the Sticker last Dead of Spring.
Cool.
Set up and go. It's not. That's it. It doesn't take long to set the back line up. It doesn't take. The thing that takes the longest is telling everyone to set their bloody merch up.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, without a word of a lie, that's the bit that's like, guys, just it took them about 4 hours for them to get all the merchandise up and along the walls. It's like, come on, really?
Is it just because you said that there, is that something else that happens on the day? Because it's a long day, the Saturday, for example, you maybe have like the first 5 bands having their merch up and then the final 5 bands, they have to put their merch up? Or do you think or is the merch area big enough to have the whole...
Right. because like the first year I was lucky enough, I had the
Eddie.
783, the
73
punks,
punks, yeah.
Eddie's label. They come up and do like a small distro.
Yeah.
But that's looking like this year, right? There's going to be nearly 14, 15 bands over 2 days. It's like there's not going to be a room, especially for 9 bands who are going to have merchandise, quite a lot of merchandise. That whole top area
Yeah.
is going to be just tables of merch right
Yeah.
up to the side of the stage. And that's it. The space at the side of the stage is there for the next band to prep and get ready to walk on, swap their stuff over. That's it. We have got a backline this year that is absolutely insane. And it's all thanks to Lee for his severe lacerations.
Absolutely.
Lee has given us not one, but 2 full Engel stacks. Now, if people aren't gearheads and that are going, oh, what's an Engel stack? Basically, it's a top of the range German amplifier and 2 4x12 cabs running through. It's going to pin people to the back wall. It's like bands are like, oh, what do I need to bring? It's like, you don't need to bring your breakables, bring your head, that's all you need. We'll supply the rest.
I
And
think
with the best sound man in bloody Scotland behind the desk for the 2 days.
100%, 100%. I've never been to a gig where I've had to put these ear things in. I think after what you're telling me about these cabinets coming up, the first time for everything.
Yeah, it worked extremely well last year, so
Yeah.
it would be a similar setup to what we've previously used. And then when Lee said, I've got the same setup that I use for my band, why not just bring everything? And that's a problem for you guys sorted. And then this is what I mean about the collaboration and the kind of, how grateful we are for not just the audiences, but bands as well. I mean, technically, his main band isn't even playing, but he's bringing the gear up for the show. Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I think we need to work this drum situation out, but I believe, is it Callum's kit's going to be centerpiece as well? Or if we're using your one still.
If I use mine's is there, that's it.
Happy days.
This is it. We have an entire back line. We have everything. That's
top of range.
That's it. We can just go straight. It's plug and play. We just set up, go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, not your house kit here or your crappy house speakers. It's full on Engel, full stacks with the potential racks.
Full forum kit with ATX hardware, man.
So you could literally turn up empty-handed, and as long as you're a good band, you should be able to plug in and play and do a good job. It's on you, bands. It's on you.
100%. 100%. But let's talk about a few of the bands on the trilogy then. So let's look at the Friday night headliners' abrupt demise from the Netherlands. So, simple question. What was the reasoning for getting these guys on the bill?
You want to go for it, Kendall, or will I go for it?
You go for it. Rennie's a charming man, and you know him quite well.
It started. We played the gig down in Booming, Leeds with the Fetal Juice Boys. It was Rob's festival, Death All Day, and the abrupt demise lads were on the bill. Got talking to Rennie outside in the beer garden, and he's basically like, "I've heard of you guys. You are quite." He said that, he goes, "It's like an insane autopsy mix thing and like that." And like, aye, check us out. So, unbeknownst to us, I didn't know Rennie ran massive festivals in the Netherlands.
Wow.
So it basically came to the point where I went, I really like their stuff. I'm going to, you know what, I'm just going to ask out, Rennie, would you want to play Scotland? Have you ever played? He's like, well, we've never played Scotland. We want to play Scotland. What will it take? And to and fro, there's things I don't think we're even allowed to say yet. We're passed between Kendo and Rennie and things like that. Basically, they want to play here, and we went, right, whatever it takes, we'll get you over. So basically, we were looking at like who we were getting in, and we went, I think they would be a band to shut the day. Like headline the Friday night, everyone's going to go home absolutely, because these guys are nuts. It's like really fast death grind, stuff. So it's going to be insane amounts of energy. So hopefully everybody's able to pick themselves up for the Saturday.
No, cool. Very much looking forward to them. Although I'm a wee bit annoyed at Rennie since he didn't answer my messages about coming on my radio show behind me. But never mind, I will get him downstairs.
He doesn't answer replies to his own questions sometimes, so I can say that. He asked me a question.
He's his own worst enemy when it comes to social media. And
I think he just turns his phone off and goes, I'm dealing with too much.
I mean, see when you know what festivals that man runs.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what it's like running this fet in Kendo, and we know it, like, you're getting inundated with messages, and there's days where you're having a fucking bad day at work, and you just look at the phone and you just go off and throw the phone in the corner. It's like, no, give me 5 minutes, I'll get to you. It's that kind of thing, man. It's like, it can be very overwhelming at times.
Yeah. I'm basically going to ask the same questions with Italian's Funist, which I must say I'm especially looking forward to seeing. Actually, before this interview, I was just finalising the questions and things like that, and I just played the split that they had, and I just played it time after time. I'm really looking forward to seeing Funist, but also Putrid Offal from France. So what was the reasoning behind getting more foreign bands to come over? Funist and Putrid Offal.
Right. Funist stems from Kendo Club. Pussy.
Did that happen?
It stems back to the shite bag if you don't.
Yeah, I think so. I think Tommaso, who plays bass in Tenebro, his main band is Funist, and extreme guy, shall we say? Extreme behaviour, extreme music, but I tell you what, extremely friendly as well. And we're really looking forward to having him back over with his main band. And again, UK exclusive. I say that certainly Scotland exclusive. Never played here before. I think they played at the Incineration Fest or one of the UK death metal tours. Yeah, Death Metal UK. But either way, not a band you're gonna see much of, and they're pretty a sight to behold. And it was like, when Mass was up for it, it was a case of, well, don't be a shite bag, get over here and get yourself playing.
And he had previous experience.
Yeah, there was a few arm wrestles, and that was that. He's coming.
Well, I mean, he had previous experience with Tenebro, so he was like, I want to play this every single weekend.
That was it. Most of the guys that were in Tenebro are in other bands.
Yeah.
And as soon as they seen, it was like, once they seen what's happened, like after that Tenebro set, and they seen the way they went, can we bring our other bands over? and it just snowballed on for that. Yeah. It was like, Hannes is like, I want to bring Sepulchre over.
Yeah.
And while we're over it, we'll do our launch second show for the split you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's them and Funist split. That's going to be like the release show. So we've got an exclusive for that. The gent who plays drums for Tenebro's band, Miasmic Serum, they're going to be playing on the Saturday. They're also doing a little mini tour to get to us.
Yep.
So all these guys want to play Scotland because they've seen what it's like. And again, this is like Kendo's touched upon. It's this knock-on effect of they've seen it, they know what they expect, and it's just grew from that. It's like the screw arms and legs. It's got to the point where the Repute guys went back, and I think they've told half of the Swedish bands, it's like, you need to go to that festival. These guys are cool as way, man. They'll accommodate, do what you want. And that's it. It's I'm not saying this out of any hubris or beans. It's the amount of bands that have came through or emails. I'm like, Jesus Christ,
it's refreshing that this is happening through, like, people either finding it themselves, whether it's some of their social media posts and videos or their own bands with pictures in the past, and they go, God, I want a piece of that. But also the word of mouth, like these are. 100%. I did say to them quite frankly, though, I says, this can't turn into Italian Fest, okay? There has to be some other bands in there,
Started.
I'm like, this is the limit, no more, absolutely no more, It's not Scott Ital, fest. It's Dead of Winter. We've got some other bands to get on, but again, that goes back to what we were saying earlier about the ambition they want to play here. They experienced something that was pretty special when they headlined with Tenebro last year, and it's an experience that will live with them forever. And they just want to go and experience that with their own guys and their own bands now. And they were like, we will get to you. Book us, we'll find a way. And and knowing the kind of the music they play and the kind of old school style they've got, it just fitted their kind of remit. And we know what to expect those guys, and we're pretty professional as well. Yeah, they like to party hard, but when they're on song as well, they're pros and they like to do the game hard as well. So yeah, look forward to seeing them play.
I feel as if I've given you my question sheet because you've answered something the next bloody half a dozen questions with that answer there.
Hey, it's worthwhile mentioning Putrid Awful because we kind of skipped over.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Were they one of the bands that saw what you have done in the last couple of years and they contacted you saying we want to play this?
Say the idea.
Again, this stems back to playing Leeds.
Yeah.
They were on this bill along with Abrupt Demise. They were doing a tour, and Rob basically from Beetlejuice got them on a few shows in England and played the festival. Basically, Fred came to us and asked us if we could play the festival. It got to the point where we couldn't get something sorted. Something wasn't clicking for us to get here and it to work. So we said, look, thanks, but if we can't bring it, we'll move on. So Fred was cool, and then that was about a week later. He came back. He went, "We can make it work. We're going to do it. We've got this show booked here, and we'll get you." And we're like, "Magic! Here's the day. Can you do it?" And Fred just went, "We'll be there. We're going to bring the A game." And he said, basically, you're going to get general surgery type,
chucked through the beat grinder in the French way.
Guys covered in blood, singing about medical stuff. It's going to be nuts, man.
Yeah. I mean, again, later on in my questions, I actually use that phrase "A game." So I'm not sending you any more emails with my bloody questions on it or anything like that. But
well, they are the A team after all, so like it when a plan. You look like Cannibal a little bit, to be fair.
Love it when a plan comes together.
He should be saying that. He's the one that looks like him. Yeah, quite right, Ricky.
So what's that mean? Me then, Mad Dog and Murdoch?
I hope I'm not B.A. Baracus.
It's also important that you're remembering the Scottish death metal scene. I mean, I always remember like you gave Jones the first ever gig, their first ever big chance. Even what did they play, like 11 o'clock or something like that? And it was what a crowd that they played to. You know,
back to see them.
And your feral ghoul and stuff like that as well. Although I don't think you can see like Mr. Sherritt is young anymore, but never mind. But this year you've got Coffin Mulch again, but you're also showcasing Abysmal Decay. You're giving their slot on the festival as well. But how important is it to showcase some of the home Scottish metal scene with Dead of Winter?
I think it's very important. We need to keep encouraging what we've got that's brilliant here. We can't stress enough. I think the Scottish bands, because the guys that are in them are a bit modest. They're not really flashy guys. They're not really seek the limelight type people. Not all of them. Some people like myself don't mind it too much. But I want to make sure that we're continuously encouraging and pushing where we can to help them make that step or showcase what's absolutely phenomenal here. We've talked about the audiences being a different breed here, but the bands are why people are coming out to see them, and they're so unbelievably good. I mean, literally, I couldn't tell you a city anywhere else in the UK that have got as many bands as we've got that are underground or playing big shows, having a fantastic response, having full crowds. There really is an amazing scene here. It complements each other so well. The bands are top notch. The audiences are top notch, but we need to keep encouraging that scene. We need to keep feeding it. We need to keep building it up. So it's very important that we've got Scottish representation on this show. And can't wait to see what the lads in Abysmal Decay do, because we already seen some of the phenomenal effort they've put into some of the shows recently, and I believe they've got new material specifically for this show. And yeah, look really forward to seeing what they bring out.
I just love that. Like bands that are playing, they're just coming up with exclusives for you guys. So I just love that, and I loved seeing Abysmal Decay at the Audio Lounge as well. Just phenomenal,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
You wouldn't know that was the first show.
Absolutely.
That's the first show, and I mean, we've got like the guy, one of the first bands that came out when this scene ignited, Coffin Mulch. Coffin Mulch were supposed to play the first year.
Yeah.
And had to pull out because I think the drummer had to go and do like basically work a tour or something like that.
Yeah.
He was doing sound or something. So they pulled out. So I've tried year on year to get them, and finally this year I've managed to get them. They've got a more stable lineup now. So I'll help Brain Bath and Suffering Rights. So it's basically my whole thing is I work old school. Somebody helps you, you help them, you get a gig with them, you do a gig for them. That's it, gig swap thing. And that's it. It's basically the Scottish scene has, in like Glasgow and Edinburgh, even like up north, like the guys for Penny Coffin that are up in Inverness. I mean, Jesus, that's every time they play a gig, they've got to come 3.5 hours down the road.
At least, yeah.
Probably longer, yeah, longer.
Yeah, just to play like Glasgow.
Yeah.
It's like they're playing Newcastle. They played Newcastle the other day. That's like nearly half a day's journey just to play what we now class as local.
Yeah.
Newcastle's a local show to us now. And that's it. It's there's little pockets of bands everywhere, and I just want everybody to start networking with one another. It's like you've got this little group over in Hartlepool, you've got a wee group over in like Cumbria, over in like the lakes.
But I think what you guys have also done is resurrected bands. I mean, look at Engulfed. Probably one of the reasons that they've resurrected is because they see how Scottish death metal has grown so much in popularity again. So they're thinking, maybe we can pick up our guitars again, you know? So
as soon as I seen like basically what happened, I think basically the guys didn't want to do Evil Blood anymore. And they were working behind it, like Dave said that he was playing with the other Dave in a wee studio, just tinkering about, and I basically said to him, I goes, "Are you coming back?" And don't know yet. It's up in the air. We're just playing. We're just having fun. I went, "Do you want a gig?" I'll go speak to Dave. Then went, well, "We've just started." I went, "I'll give you 4 months. Come back in 4 months, and if he's ready, you can walk straight onto the audio lounge bill." And they came back, and he said that he goes, they admitted it. They goes, "We are crap ourselves of either." They were petrified everything was going to go wrong. Thankfully, the only thing that went wrong that night was Dave snapped the guitar string, and he had to run out to the car and get his back up. And that was it. That gig there that was done at the audio lounge, I put it under the Dead of Winter banner because that's it. It's basically, that's the promotions company now that me and Kendall have is Dead of Winter's Promotions. That's where it comes up in Ticket Scotland and that. So I basically went to the guys, "I'll get yous on. Dave wants to play a gig," and it was Ryan for Graveville. Ryan's like, "I need to come and play Scotland again." That playing Dead of Winter was insane. He is itching to play shows now. He's got this horrible little bug now that he can't. He's like a crack fiend. He wants to play live constantly. So I got him a gig. That's now opened up avenues for gigs for bands up here down south, and that's it. It's starting to get networking again.
That's it. Absolutely. I think he's only 29 or something like that, isn't he? He's really young, isn't he? So he's
how young he is and how good he is.
So much ahead of him. So much ahead of him. But on a Saturday, you're carrying on with massive success of Tenebro and returning with further Italian bands Sepulchro and Miasmic Serum. Was it more difficult to get these bands to come and play? I mean, Sepulchro is a one-off gig, but Miasmic are now using this as a reason to do a 3-date UK tour in Liverpool and Manchester. So was it easier or more difficult to get these guys to play?
I mean, getting them to play is the easy part because they are absolutely choking, as you've heard before. Some of those members in those bands experienced it with Tenebro last year. And so they were like, I want that same experience in my own project, my own band. So yeah, getting them over and wanting to do it. But then I guess logistics, the world keeps moving on and keeps getting a little bit more difficult to travel between countries. So especially with the UK not being in the EU anymore, there's visas and all sorts that you need to try and look at. So whatever happens, we've made it happen. I would say getting the band's commitment, easy peasy. It was pretty much, yes, get me on. We're absolutely playing, and that was wonderful to hear. But yeah, we did need to look through some logistics of things to try and get it done. And it's not quite over the line yet. You don't know what's going to happen today, so you can never. But we are 99.9% certain that everything's in ticked and licked as it can be. And so yeah, we're looking forward to them arriving and producing some amazing shows. And again, total exclusive event. I don't think they've ever played here before. Certainly either band. I don't believe Sepulchro's ever played the UK before. So yeah, and Isaac seems exactly the same. So again, it's more exclusive bands that we're providing at this death metal festival.
But it's also networking for your musical projects like Brainbath, for example. They might invite you, because I see a lot of similarities between the Italian and the Scottish death metal scene. You've got Vanny setting up festivals, an underground festival like you guys have here in Scotland, and maybe one of these days they'll say, just exactly what happened with Ryan and Gravegool.
There's a lot of good faith there, because we go back to Al and Coffin Mulch when myself and him collaborated to pull over Filchi. That's the first time we played the UK. And we'll always be able to champion that. The first time we ever played here was in Scotland. And to this day, he stays in contact with me and all the guys from the band. So, like here, Clem, Fiore, all the guys from the band still talk to me. And it's a wonderful thing. And the same thing has happened with the other Italian bands. So if we speak to Hannes, we speak to Mas, we speak to Gabriel, we speak to Simone from the bands. And I think they've already barred us from coming over because we'll drink too much and eat too much food and steal their women is what I've been hearing. But if we can make something work where some of the Scottish bands can get over there and do some things, then that would be fantastic. But it's really rewarding. And going back to the L thing, when not only kind of internationally but also keeping our word. Unfortunately, his band Coffin Mulch had to pull out the first show because he lost a drummer. And the second year, something was going on with the lineup that had to change, etc. Now that they've got the lineup, we've kept our word and we've stayed committed, and that's what this scene's really showing us, that if you're making the right moves and playing the right songs and getting the passionate people involved, you're making friends for life, and we're really pleased about it.
100%.
Sorry, I think I cut off Gondo there. I think he was going to say something on that as well. Sorry.
Basically, Vanny set up Death Mania. And he's basically, I think he's looked at the Dead of Winter, first year and went, I could do that. We'll get all the Italian bands, all his mates basically, and he's put them onto that one lineup. And I hope that he smashes it out of the park. But what I've been watching and seeing from when Graveville went over and done the Italian tour with Tenebro, the scene over there looks insanely good.
It's great, yeah.
So that's it. I hope one day we can get bands over there to play over there. I mean, even when Kendall was speaking about the guys for Filchi, we got them over here first to play Scotland. It was the next tour when they came back, the last album there. I was lucky enough, Suffering Rights get picked to be the support band, and it's one of the most surreal things I've ever seen. I'm playing away on stage, and all the guys for Filchi are standing at the side of the stage, going nuts and going, "Yeah, mate, that's fucking," Dom's this is pure fucking bolt thrower, fucking. I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's and that's it. It's like Kendall says, they're mates for life now. I can talk to these guys on social media, and it's when they come to town, it's long lost brothers, man. It's great.
So good, yeah. I'm definitely taking a few years off their lives. I've took them all the pub. Dom and the guys who Filchi have seen Socky Hall Street a few times, shall we say? And don't let anybody tell you that they don't like a pizza crunch, because they're quite a fan.
Yeah. Or Ryan, and what was it? The pakora he loves? Is it?
Yeah, he'd never tried pakora before. I didn't realise you don't really get it in England. There's only certain places, some northern places, but certainly way down south where he was living at the time, Cornwall, he's not used to it. So Yeah, I
Brilliant.
made we got a big munchie box and a bit of pizza and that, and yeah, he's now in love with Pecora. And somehow he seems to be keeping moving more northern towards Scotland. His missus, I believe, Scottish, and
Montrose.
apparently now
Aye,
since his tour in the with Graveghoul in Italy, and with Dave having the Saltire on his bass cab,
that's right.
everybody thinks of a Scottish band. So we're claiming that as well. Graveghoul, a Scottish band. It's only a matter of time before he moves up from Blackpool to or St Anne's, where he is now. Up, he's only got a couple hundred mile, and he's already back in
Absolutely.
Scotland. Fantastic.
No, he deserves to be up here, deserves to be up here. But for me, the trilogy, there's not one band in the bill where I'm like, yeah, I think I'll go out and get something to eat now. I mean, I've got my favourites. I mean, even old school acts like Absolution and Austerum or Austerum, however you say their name, who have their first opportunities to play Glasgow. And like I said, I told them to bring their A game, so I'm using the phrase that you said. But it's nice to have a bit of a touch of old school. I mean, these guys haven't released anything in like 10 years or anything like that. So I think Austerum was like 2018, the last album, and Absolution haven't released anything in a good number of times. So what made you pick those kind of bands then when they haven't released anything in some time?
Austerium came through Rich, the Malediction, and Rick, the Malediction. Basically, because they played Malediction played there, Rick's basically brought Austerium back, I think, and he's like, I'd love to play Dead of Winter.
Yeah,
By this point, Rich is also now playing for Austerium.
yeah,
So it's no brainer. It's like, yeah, guys, you've played here before. I can count on you. Come up, put on a show. They're going to get down a storm. They
it's a
play
great
that.
album they released in 2018, by the
It's,
way.
Yeah.
it's the most Swedish Gothenburg sound album for a British band I think I've ever listened to. So
Yeah,
that's pure at the gates, like early In Flames sort of sound to it, and
yeah,
that's it. It's all death metal, yeah, but we've got Absolution sound like proper British old school death metal,
yeah.
like your
Benediction.
early Boltroar, Benediction. Austerium have a Swedish sound that isn't HM2, it's more Gothenburg.
Yeah,
As you go through the build, there's something different for everything. We'll get the lads coming over from Ireland, Lost Brethren.
yeah,
They're tech death. Like for fans of Blood Incantation, Time Ghoul, bands like that. There's something for everybody.
yeah.
There's a lot of bands there, people like, I'm pretty sure Sean that works with you on the day. It's like, I've never heard of half these, but and then he walked out with about £120 worth of merchandise that day
That's
because he's
right.
like, oh,
That's
these
what he
bands
did,
are
yeah.
awesome. Bought the stuff.
That's
That's
right.
what we want. These people come in almost like they know a couple of bands, they pay the ticket, you see two or three bands you've never heard before, and you oh, wait a minute, where did these guys come from? What? And that's how the scene grows. It's like you're exposing these people to a wider scene outside their little tiny like
Yeah,
area.
yeah,
And it's getting to that point now where it's like, who can I bring in next? Where can I go next? Why do I go there? And Kendo's the same. He's spoken to me at length with it. We're getting bands now from far and wide want to come here. And it's like we say, it's a 300 cap venue. What can you offer us? And we can offer you this. Do you want to play here? And it's the same message. And it sounds like I'm a broken record player. That's how it works, guys. It's underground. There's something for everyone. Come along, bang your head, jump off the stage, drink copious amounts of beer, have a laugh. Hopefully we can do it again next year.
When you jump off the stage, make sure you don't knock people's phones out their hands and stuff like that, Quando. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember because I still feel it in my neck because I landed in my bed.
Once again, thanks for coming back. But we do have a few other bands, especially in the UK. So would you? I'm just going to leave it open to you guys. Would you like to talk about the few, especially bands like Death Collector and stuff like that? There's a bit of history behind Death Collector, but what about Void Below as well as others? So, what made you approach these bands to come to the festival?
I'll take Void Below. That was my pick. They play a very, very interesting type of death metal that I like, Lovecraftian
Yes.
stuff. I am obsessed with Lovecraft, so it was no-brainer. And these guys are just down the road in Cumbria.
That's right.
It's like again, there's like little pockets of like bands and places like Whitehaven, Barrow and Furnace. That's where like Severe Lacerations come from.
Yeah.
And that then bleeds into the next. It's like there's members of Severe Laceration who are in Death Collector. There's guys that is in Death Collector that are in Asterium. And it's like I think Callum now plays drums for Death Collector.
He does. Yeah.
Callum's also in Severe Lacerations.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it's guys that we've worked with before who are in other projects. Death Collector played your birthday show, Ricky. As soon as they played that, they seen what was going on. They seen what happens here.
I'm still pissed off at Anti Whale, by the way.
But that was it. They basically wanted to come back. So that's all we can well, yeah, guys, if you want to play, we'll put you on. So it worked for them.
Absolutely. And what about your choices, Kendo?
Oh, well, one of the bands that really wanted to step up and really help when things weren't going so well in the second scene, we're putting updates online, was that Drior band.
Yeah,
I think you had an interview with the guys recently.
I did. Very good guys.
Listening to their journey of how they've got through being into the old school death metal and realising they've had something. And yeah, they've now got a strong opportunity to come up and demonstrate some of their good music that they've got. I think, keep me right, I can't remember the part of England they're from, but I want to say they're one of the only bands. What is it, Nottingham or somewhere in there?
I think you're right.
They're like the Midlands, Nottingham area.
Right, okay. So, yeah, God, that was a good guess for somebody that lives 500 miles away, but yes. And if I have got it wrong, then it's Ricky's fault. But anyway, so
Thank you.
the fact that they were ready to step in and help us out, I felt that merited a place. And then we touched them earlier, but Lost Brethren were over, and the promoter that put on a show for them, it just happened on a day that wasn't that great for them. It was. I want to say that there was just massive events on. I think Scotland Rugby were playing. I think Celtic or Rangers had a big European night on. There was a massive show. For example, I don't know if like Taylor Swift and Metallica, everything was just bloody happening between Edinburgh and Glasgow on that weekend. And I felt they didn't have the best representation of coming over here and getting all the people at those crowds. I think it was one of the Northern Unrest as well. Events, so one of the hardcore show which mixes with our crowds a lot. So yeah, I felt like they deserved a better representation. Don't get me wrong, I still took them out to the clubs and the places and said I got the nighttime bit right, you know. It certainly is not. No, usually I'm a white wine spritzer in bed for a living, you know that. Anyway, so if you believe that, then you know I'm a good salesman. So anyway, get them back over, and you're going back to what you said. They play a very technical death style, but a very cool science fiction. There was the guys. I think the guys that play in the band are guitar teachers, or certainly very high level and pass on their skills. And it's like, well, this is the music we play when we get a chance to do it ourselves. So very much one to watch on the day. They play like all this tech death riffs, but in between there's these fantastic melodic and cool solos that are almost Pink Floydish or like, you know, just otherworldly, stratospheric. So yeah, very impressed with their playing. Looking forward to seeing them at the festival to a bigger audience, and yeah, a good event for them.
Well, like I said, there's not one band that I'm not looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing every single band. And when we get together on January the 8th, on my radio show, we are going to play a song from each and every band that are playing Dead of Winter. So you'll get to hear and experience them all if you haven't already done so, which you should have. But yeah, so after fans leave Dead of Winter, How are you wanting them to feel? What do you think they feel after they leave a Dead of Winter event?
Apart from being knackered for like 2 days of death metal, I'm kind of hoping after they get themselves back into like their hotel or back home, it's like, right, when do we do this again? And it's like, is it going to happen? Again, it's at the moment, it's like I just take it as it comes. Will it happen next year? Hopefully. It's just whether everything pans out the way it's supposed to pan out.
Yep.
I would like to think that I would like to do is this is a bit for ourselves as well. You know, I feel like the crowd really, you know, they really pushed themselves and demonstrated what they were willing to do for us last year by turning up to that event when we had like just, you know, unprecedented levels of weather and
Yeah.
hurricanes and things we've never seen in Scotland before. And if we have, it's not quite affected the weekend sort of thing. So for me, I'd hope that when people see the show, they'll see something that's exclusive that they can't get anywhere else. That they're, you know, where all their friends are taking part, amazing bands, new music that they've never heard before, and then having a real sense of pride and being proud that we've got something in Scotland that they can tell their friends about. I hope that when people leave here, they go, Dead of Winter is absolutely amazing. You need to get yourself there. And I believe we can deliver that.
Absolutely, absolutely. But that leaves us with, before I ask you just fun questions to end this interview, what do you have in store for us in the future? Where do you see Dead of Winter going?
The next logical step I can think of is
The
I'd like
Armadillo?
some venue, seated venue. If we stay where we are, which is probably the case, we're still at Ivory Blacks. It would probably be to shunt the Friday, the Saturday, and the Saturday. Like a proper weekend of Saturday, Sunday, 2 full days would be the idea.
Yeah.
So again, it's whether it's a lot to ask for people to stand for 24 hours over 2 days, possibly 18 to 20 bands. That's the next logical step. Bands wise, I want to keep it in that underground sphere. Bands that aren't your massive death metal icons. Like, I would love to have Dismember, but Christ,
You've read my
need
bloody
5
question,
figures
so
just to
you
get
have.
them in the country. So the way I look at it is when I went up to Scandinavia Death Fest, I seen a lot of bands for the first time that I'd never heard before, and bands that I never thought I would ever see.
Yeah.
And you've seen the lineup there, Ricky. You even said it yourself. It's like, by God, I was like, that was it. I couldn't, like 3 days, I think I watched about 44 bands or something. I was dead in my feet by the end up. So it's that juggling with, you've got to remember that somebody's got to be there to watch it, and can they be comfortable doing it? That's why I like the venue. There's places to sit. You can go outside. It's all on the one level. It's a very relaxed venue. There's no traipsing from one venue to another. I know festivals have done that in the past in Scotland, and it's quite difficult getting from venue to venue, even if it's only a block away. It's like you're sitting going, it takes me 5 minutes to get room there, and it takes me 20 minutes to get to there. No. The next logical step is probably 2 full days in the one venue.
What about you, Kendall?
I'm keen to see what the audience, where they want to take it. I think what me and Kenny are very much aware of is that, do you know what would be amazing? See if one of the bands that we've managed to put on goes on to be a superstar somewhere, and we can say, well, you know, there was a platform to allow them to shine, and they've grew strength to strength from there. That would be unbelievable. You can never promise or know where that's going to be. Certainly, we've had a taste of it. The likes of Fulci, Tenebro, some old classic acts getting together, like Malediction, etc. Repute Boys have been fantastic, and there might be some more of that this year. People will maybe soldier on and level up from after performing such a great event like Dead of Winter. But also, we need to be sensible. If fans do, if we do make more festivals, keep more exclusives, keep putting the platform, and they want a bigger venue or whatever, then we have to look at it. We don't want to be confined. I don't want to put an absolute on anything. I think the natural progression, as Kenny says, let's fill a weekend and just keep growing incrementally. But I take a lot of encouragement from the likes of Gavin McNally, who runs Damnation, who started off very similar to the way we did, and now he's got a massive arena in Manchester. I don't know if it's quite the same ambitions as us, but same way Incineration Fest in London. Maybe things that have happened in the past where there's been multiple venues, the likes of North of the Wall Festival, and festivals that have happened in the past where it's been over multiple venues that include Ivory Black. So who knows? It'd be good to see in the comments if they do happen on your channel that where people see this going, what do they feel like it's going to happen to it? But one of the things that we're very proud of is that the ambition for Kenny, and it's something I could talk hours about, like anything, as you know, talk for Scotland. But I really hate this whole ticket price problem that we've got ourselves into. We go and see normal bands and it's costing people their entire wage for the week to see them. So the fact that we've managed to provide a festival over 2 days for a very compatible price, the tickets are, £35 if you buy them now. We'll be able to slot on the day because of the way capacity works. We can't sell on the day tickets for.
Where'd you get the tickets from there that you mentioned them?
They are Ticket Scotland. You can find them either in the links within the social media pages. A link tree will take you to the tickets. You can visit one of the Ticket Scotland shop if you live in Scotland. So that's under the bridge at Central Station in Glasgow. I don't know where the location is in Edinburgh. There is one in Edinburgh as well. But if you go to any of the Dead of Winter social pages on Facebook, Instagram, then you will find the links for the tickets. So yes, but we're very proud of the fact that we've been able to keep a cap on costs and provide an immense value, and it would be difficult to keep that value if we increased in size. So we're in a good spot. But yeah, I'm interested to see what the audience thinks. Where do they see it going? But what first and foremost, we've got to deliver a fantastic trilogy show, which we're all looking forward to.
Well, I can say it with ease. It's definitely one festival of the year that you're guaranteed that I will be present at. It's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. Unfortunately, it's a yearly event, just at the moment. But yeah, definitely cannot wait to be there and see what you guys do next. But we're going to end this interview with a few fun questions, and it's fun questions for each of you.
Okay.
So, what band was the hardest to book and get over the line?
This year or just in general?
Any year.
Any year.
I would say for us this year it would be Miasmic Serum, because the lads had to set up. They've got to communicate with Hannes and Tommaso to make sure that they're all getting over. Like, Hannes is coming over early. I think he's making a holiday out of it. Him and Tommaso are going sightseeing and that. The Miasmic Serum guys are coming in and they're doing shows in Manchester.
Liverpool and Manchester.
Liverpool and that. So they're coming over on the day, and like Funist will be playing on the Friday night. Miasmic Serum will be playing Liverpool, I think it is, on the Friday night, and then they come up on the Saturday. So it was try to get everything geared around how the guys were all getting here, because it's I think it was 9 guys in 3 bands, so it's getting everybody that can get there. So that, I think that was the hardest one.
And they all come up with their own riders as well. So
yeah,
hearing they'll like it.
For me, I've got to call it the Repute Boys, because they went through hell to get here, and we had to make a separate show for them. But look, let's call the guys out. Robin and the boys from Repute were absolutely amazing about it. They just said, let's do something else. Let's definitely work together. We managed to put on a Dead of Spring show, and shout out to the guys that also played that bill who couldn't play in the second Dead of Winter Fest. So Blasphemer, Trenchfoot, I try to think the other guys on the bill that helped us out on the day as well. So Feral Ghoul was also one of the bands as well.
And
And
Ovulating Cadaver was
That's
came
right.
in as
Ovulating
well.
Cadaver. So it was on the tip of my tongue, Kenny. But yeah, big shout to all those guys because they managed. That was just a hell of a situation, and they could have easily chucked the toys at the pram. Never worked with us again. Bad mouth Scotland, but they didn't. They came back and put on another amazing show. So hardest one to get over the line, but we did something different, but equally as good.
Absolutely. So what was your personal crowd moment so far? Again, for each of you. So I don't know who wants to go first.
Is this in a playing sense? Because
No, just anything to do with Dead of Winter. Whether you were playing or whether you were watching Tenebro or something like that, the crowd reaction they got, or was there a particular moment where you went, we've bloody done this? I can think of one. Like, as you said earlier on, like after the first festival, you said, do you want to do this again? You heard
probably
everybody's
that
response.
was the biggest, being like going up on stage after Malediction finished, and basically Sean was telling everyone thank you because the man had beat throat cancer, for Christ's sake.
That's right.
And he's up on stage singing. That was like, my God, that man's just done a Herculean act.
It was
on
in
stage.
November, he got the all clear or something like that,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
And he played
basically
in
2
January.
months later, the guy's
Yeah.
up there giving his all.
Yeah.
And then for me to then walk out on stage and ask, would you like to do this again? And the whole place went, yes. It was just like, okay, we've started something here. That's one thing. The other one, and it was through playing, was like Brain Bath weren't even supposed to be near the festival in January there. Because the way the weather happened, we had to step in to fill the bill because,
Yeah.
and it was watching them mosh pit while we were sound checking.
That's
There's like
right.
this massive mosh pit going, and I'm just standing there going, we've not started yet, guys. And they don't care. They were just going nuts.
Yeah.
And then there's a point where I think it was Sterling filmed it, or somebody filmed it. There's like a documentary style like film of the whole day. And it's watching the amount of people just launching themselves off the stage. Like, there's guys landing in their heads. They're just going, yeah, this is great. Keep going. And I'm just like, yeah, the watching the crowd going absolutely crazy is the reason to keep going. It's what drives me to keep playing music.
Must be the best feeling in the world.
It's I'm not going to lie, it's like a very, very addictive drug. So it is.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
fair play. Fair play to you, Condell. What about yourself, Kendall?
I'll keep the same kind of theme then. I'll do one, and I'll do it slightly different, but roughly the same. So my first one was, believe it or not, for this gentleman next to me, Kenny. He does so much for the scene. He his passion's unrivaled of anybody I've ever met. He makes sure people hear about all the new old school death metal bands, keeps reminding them about all the existing ones as well. And for that first festival, to turn around and look at him with just a big smile on his face and constantly, almost erratic, moving his head left and right like a tennis match, just couldn't believe what was going on around us. That was something special, and he deserved that moment because he's wanted to do something like this since the Soundhouse days. So to see it come to life, fruition, and not just do it because it was a vanity thing, seeing the absolute joy and that people were enjoying it there, and the crowd go crazy and the bands love it. To have that experience, particularly for Kenny to enjoy that, for something that has been a big ambition for him, was me to stand back and go, that was a really cool moment. For me, another one, for personal one from playing, I have to repeat what Kenny said. There was a moment when I looked up during one of our Brain Bath sets. I can't even, both were crazy, but when I seen there was like 10 people suffering around the crowd and the place was going berserk, when we had bands asking us, going, what do you do? And I'm like, I've got no idea. They just do this when we play, man. They just, that we're quite fortunate to have that support, and that was cool. And then the third one was like, if people would have known the kind of, I can't really speak about it because we probably did break a lot of laws last year. If they'd have known the efforts and the kind of staying up, I think I had stayed up. I didn't tell anybody this, but I stayed up for 48 hours to make sure it could work, because I was determined. I could not let that fail. I couldn't people part with their money. People make the effort to get to through all these countries to get to us to play. And when we opened the doors on that Saturday, after we had that hurricane at Scotland, and the people were running by me, and the bands were going like hell to get them tagged up because they couldn't wait to get inside. That's a real proud moment. I can sit back and go, that we gave something for the fans the first year.
Yeah.
They gave something for us the second year. So that's why, we're going bigger and better than ever this third year, the trilogy.
Well, to be honest with you guys, I'm quite disappointed with your answers because I thought you would have talked about the introduction that I gave you, calling you sexy bastards.
I was going to say that one.
But
I know you're not that
I
kind
wake
of
up
man.
and see this face every day. I know that, Ricky. I don't need you to tell me. Come on.
It was quite funny that get the Escape from New York theme blaring away.
Good one.
And you coming out to introduce us, and the place just went evil.
Fucking crazy.
I don't know what it was. It's like we weren't even meant to play that day,
No.
and it's quite possibly the most insane crowd I've played in front of, and I've played a fuck ton of gigs, and I mean I've supported bands like Dark Tranquility and things like that. So it's like they look out and just watch this sea of people flying off like speakers and jumping into the crowd.
I need to give the guys in Brainbath a shout. So a shout out to Sean Gillen, the drummer. Shout out to Sean Barrett, and a shout out to Diego on bass. All of them, none of us rehearsed. We had not played a note for must have been like 2 months or something before that gig. But all of them on a drop of a dime. Repute aren't going to make it, or whoever it was. Let's step in, and we did ourselves proud. Considering we never played a note, weren't ready for it, weren't anticipating it, and then the place just went amazing. That was a cool experience, can I say? So shout to them.
The only thing I'm going to say about this is that shows you get your fucking album out, get the UK tour booked because you've got the backing to do a UK tour, so do it, get it done.
That's another chat. This has been a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Second last question, honestly. I only ask you like questions. It's you guys that talk for 10 minutes every bloody question. So what's the one thing fans would never guess about running a festival?
Oh. I don't know. I think the people are very passionate. They'd be very clever. They probably know a lot of the logistics. I think what probably isn't appreciated is that the instrument, the people that play on stage are live. They are 100% live. There is no backing tracks. There's no in-ear monitors. What you are seeing, and this is why we love what we do, is the rawest you'll see these bands. This is like full force, and not the CD. This is them at 1,000,000 decibels, 1,000 kilowatts behind them. They are going for it, and there is literally a string could snap, a drum skin could break, somebody could faint on stage. This is pure live music, and there's no preparation for that. If something goes down, you need to act or do as best you can. If a member's guitar breaks and you have to play on without him. So, I think sometimes people take a little bit for granted, but at the same time, what I like is that's why we're working with such professional bands, even though these guys are underground, and that's why we're giving them such a platform. They're such good players and such good bands that they're prepared for it. They absolutely go for it. So yeah, I don't think many people realize that this is, not a lot of this isn't chaotic. How do you choreographed? It's very much, you go out there, Motorhead, live, plug in, play, live or die, sink or swim, go for it. And that's definitely one thing I would say.
And that whole mentality in like jaundice coming in the first year and being thrown in at the veritable deep end. I mean, Christ, if I remember right, the lad that plays drums didn't have cymbals or anything, so I had to give him.
He was 15 years old. Forget cymbals.
15 years old. And then they smashed it out the park.
100%.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then for them to then we turn around and go, can you do the same again in year 2? And a drop of a dime. Kendall was talking to them at like midnight. And they went, they dropped everything and got to Glasgow for the next day to open the show. and yet again, smashed it out of the bloody park.
100%. No, great band, great band, great band. But listen, thank you so much for the time that you spent with me. But I do have to ask the question: if there were no limits, who would be your dream headliner be and why? And then I'll give you mine. So I want no limits, no budgets, no nothing. Maybe they're living, maybe they're not. Who would your dream headliner be? Let's do it with the living then. Who would your dream headliner be?
Oh,
I know Kendall's would be eternal champion.
I mean, I'm great friends with those guys. We were very fortunate to play with them. You know, all the guys in that band are really good. In fact, John Powers, he's still got my guitar. I hope I get it back soon. He's a wonderful player for both Summerlands and Eternal Champion. All the guys in the band are great. Yeah. It wouldn't be for me. If I was going to go, I'm going to go a little bit left field here, but do you know, if we managed to do, and if we did say money was no object, and we went back to roots UK death metal, and we had all the old guard just for that, and then supported it with all the UK bands. So if we went Carcass, Benediction, Bolt Thrower, Napalm, just all the old guard. Imagine you had a back to roots festival, small venue, exclusive event, English, Scottish, Welsh, Irish, British Isles. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, that would be something pretty special. It would probably take me £1 million to arrive at, even if we
Gods of
could
Grind
probably,
tour.
basically, yeah.
try and get Bolt Thrower, try and get Andy Whale speaking to some of
Yeah.
the other guys, try
Oh,
and
I
get
don't
them
like
to
him.
play as well. You know, Hell Bastard. There's a lot of bands from that time. I know
Yeah.
the Florida scene gets all the praise, but I feel like UK death metal was the real driving force for why the genre pushed the
Yeah.
envelope, and it would be
There's-
good to do a
There's
back to
like
roots.
bands like Necrosanct and that, and
Yeah, yeah.
all the kind of guys that they should have been massive, and like
Yeah.
they get. That's another thing. I like picking bands that seem to get lost in the shuffle. So they do.
Yeah.
It's like these guys are outstanding. It's like, why aren't they bigger? There's lots of bands on like Peaceville label that are like that. It's like
Yeah.
you've like Andy for Hibernoid and all the guys. It's like
Mhm.
that era, like Mass for Blasphemer and all the guys. They've all been
Yeah.
on the scene for years. They have ties with all these guys, and that's it. It's basically working relationships. One day we could do it.
Yeah.
We'll never get Bolt Thrower back.
No.
We'll
I'd
never
love
get
that.
them
You know, if we did a back to roots, Bolt Thrower, Carcass, Benediction. What about Cops? Remember the old Scottish
Yeah,
band?
fuck aye.
Scottish band Cops.
Imagine we did a back to roots, small venue, exclusive only. You be there or you be square. It's never going to happen again. That would be cool. Money no object. I would try for that, but that's pure vanity.
What's stopping you? What's stopping you? What's stopping you?
About a gazillion pounds and a
Yeah.
lot of bad feuds between people. But you know, yeah.
What about you, Quando? Money's no
Oh.
object. Who would you like
Right.
to headline?
You know, this
I've got a band, and you better say this. I'll be disappointed if you don't.
You ready for it? There's a lot of bands I would love. I might actually be cheeky and just reach out to Dave Ingram shortly, but
Absolutely, that's one. Yep.
um,
Benediction, definitely.
Oh,
I
Cancer
would
as well.
love to get Cancer is another. Me and Ken
Another-
have spoke about Cancer and that.
just price range with
It's
him.
They're all
price range
Spanish now,
with
eh?
them.
Aye.
If money was no object, I would have Cancer over my fucking heartbeat.
Yeah.
I would go for a Bitchery.
Mm.
I would love
Right.
to have a Bitchery play in Ivory Blacks. I've seen them play
Saw 'em in the Soundhouse earlier. Yeah.
So I did seen them play the Soundhouse years ago,
With Heat.
and it was one of those gigs where it was insane.
Yeah.
I would love to have a Bitchery, Morbid Angel. Christ, there's so many
I
bands I
know.
would love to get, and I can't just say, oh, that's my favourite band, or it's
Well, I'm disappointed in you, Quando. I thought you would have actually said I know they're not death metal, but I thought you would have said Halloween.
I would
Because
love to get Halloween over.
fucking right, by the way. You're fucking right.
The only problem is I think the last time they came here, I think it was Kelvin that put them on. And they played
Aye.
the QMU.
All right, okay. Yeah.
It was at the Keeper's Legacy album.
That's what I'm wanting. I want a keeper set only. Halloween, right? Keeper set only. But also, um, I would love Dismember, as you mentioned earlier, but a more realistic option, Lick.
Yeah, LIK. They're a band they're on that sort of like cusp of
Approaching. Aye.
they're not Dismember.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
There's a lot of Swedish bands. There's a lot of I love the band Obliteration in Norway.
Yeah.
They're really I like theirs. I'd love to get bands from North Finland. I mean, that was it. Convulse played here.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
And I never thought I'd see that band.
Yeah.
Especially I've been offered that support slot 3 times. And 3 times I've had to knock it down because something's happened, and it's just like, you know what, I'll just be happy to see the guys play.
Get Apparition.
LIK, just on that point, Ricky, it's quite funny how I went down the UK road. Kenny went down the kind of Florida road, and you went down the Swedish road. You're like, just get all the death metal here. Anyway, that LIK, that's kind of I would say that's not them specifically, but bands of that ilk that are maybe not quite the Entombed and Dismember, just under in the Swedish, hierarchy. They've reached out to us in the past, and we haven't been able to make it work. But that's the type of bands that we have been attracting. So you never say never.
I mean, there's a few bands I would probably like to bring for Germany and that. Again, the transport system or transport for like Edinburgh or Glasgow to Germany's changed now because Ryanair have chopped all the flights. And that was it. We were trying to get, I think it was Carmel Tomb.
Yeah.
They wanted to play here, but the only thing was they wanted to try and get back to Hamburg the following day. And that's as soon as he said it, I went, it's not going to happen because you need a flight for the Monday because they only run Friday to Monday and it's Ryanair and now they'd stop. You would need to get a trip plane from Manchester and then the price goes through the roof and that's it. We try to get these bands over on a budget that's not ridiculous. So these guys aren't getting, £500 worth of plane tickets. They're actually getting money in their pocket for playing the show, not just
That's something fans don't know about. We can say to you, why don't you get? But then it's simple things like that. Outside influences just prevent bands from coming over. Shame.
Transportation, logistics, and pricing is the 3 hardest parts of it all.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go into that too much. What we need to be grateful for is we've got a phenomenal festival where we have so many bands that are, have the ambition to play it. And what we look at is what we can control. We can't control if flights only happen on a Friday and then they can't get back until the Tuesday. So if it's within our parameters to control it and get them over, and they've got the ambition to play, and they've seen the passionate crowds, and they've seen the crazy cool audience they've got, and that's what we work with and work towards. And there's a lot of bands still in that envelope that can do that, and that's what we're going to keep aiming for. If we grow and we can adjust and expand to get some of these other acts and revisit some of the bands we've mentioned there, then we'll definitely do it. But for right now, we're very fortunate position that we've got an amazing festival. We're going to deliver something incredible in January, and we'll keep working within the parameters that we can control, because at the moment it's bringing some phenomenal acts, exclusive acts, and stuff you can't miss. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have your tickets yet, I would bloody hurry up and get them, because I'm thinking this is going to sell out if it's not already close to it. So make sure you get your tickets from Ticket Scotland. Go on all the socials of Dead of Winter. Kenny and Kenny, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you once again. I wish you all the success for the trilogy and beyond. I'm just wondering what the 4th episode is going to be called. Yeah. So
A New Hope. I don't know.
No,
I'm old school. New Hope is number 1. is number one. There is no prequel. The New Hope is number one. Get on it that way.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the success with this. And let's see where it goes. And I look forward to seeing you in January, if not before. Thank you.
Thanks for having us, mate. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.